Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Korean ebook before it's gone.
Imagine you're in a Korean restaurant. You are ready to order and need to get the waiter's attention. What do you say? 안녕하세요, 이재입니다. Jae here. Anyone can learn how to order food in a Korean restaurant. In this lesson, you'll learn how. Mark and Karen are getting ready to order at a Korean restaurant. Let's watch.
아주머니, 여기 주문이요.
뭘로 드릴까요?
김치찌개 하나랑 순두부찌개 하나 주세요.
아, 물도 하나 주세요. 물은 셀프입니다.
아주머니, 저희 김치 좀 더 주세요.
Now with English.
아주머니, 여기 주문이요.
뭘로 드릴까요?
김치찌개 하나랑 순두부찌개 하나 주세요.
아, 물도 하나 주세요. 물은 셀프입니다.
아주머니, 저희 김치 좀 더 주세요.
Here are the keywords from the scene.
주문, 주문, order, 주문, 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 셀프, 셀프, self-service, 셀프, 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 물, 물, water, 물, 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 김치, 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 순두부, 순두부, soft tofu, 순두부, 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 찌개, 찌개, soup, stew, 찌개, 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 더, more, 더, 아주머니, 아주머니, casual way to say Mrs. 아주머니, 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 들이다, 들이다, to give, 들이다, 들이다, 들이다.
And now a breakdown of some of the Korean you heard in the scene.
And the scene, how did Mark order? 김치찌개 하나랑 순두부찌개 하나 주세요. 김치찌개 하나랑 순두부찌개 하나 주세요. 김치찌개 하나랑 순두부찌개 하나 주세요. It means one kimchi stew and one soft tofu stew, please. When you order food, first say the name of the food. For example, 김치찌개 if you want to have kimchi stew. Then say how many you need, for example, 하나 for one, 두 개 for two, 세 개 for three. Then simply add 주세요, which literally means please give. If you want to order 2 kimchi stews, you can say 김치찌개 2개 주세요. When you order 2 or more items, you can connect food names with the word 랑, which means and. Using this pattern, If you want to order one kimchi and one bowl of rice, you can say 김치 하나랑 밥 하나 주세요. Now you try. Say Mark's line.
뭘로 드릴까요?
김치찌개 하나랑 순두부찌개 하나 주세요. What did Mark say when he wanted to get more kimchi? 아주머니, 저희 김치 좀 더 주세요. 김치 좀 주세요. 김치 좀 주세요. It means, please give me more kimchi. Mark wanted to get more kimchi, so he said the word kimchi first. As you know, kimchi is the name of a very common Korean side dish. This phrase ends with the verb 주세요. It's an honorific form of the verb 주다, which means to give. In this line, Mark also uses the word 좀. In this context, it's used to ask more politely. If you don't use the word 좀 and just say 김치 주세요, kimchi please, it sounds a bit rude because it's very direct. By adding the word 좀, you can make your request less direct and therefore more polite. Now you try. Say Mark's line asking for more kimchi. 아주머니, 저희 김치 좀 더 주세요.
Now the lesson focus. Here's how to order food at a Korean restaurant.
Korean restaurants are a little different from other types of restaurants. When you're ready to order in a Korean restaurant, you simply need to raise your hand and say 저기요, which means excuse me there. If you're eating in a traditional Korean restaurant, it's normal to address the female staff in the restaurant as 아주머니 if they are over the age of 30. To male staff, you can use 아저씨. Listen again to what Mark said. 아주머니, 여기 주문이요. If it is too loud for the waiters to hear you, call the staff again. It's not rude. Some of the most popular Korean dishes people order are 김치찌개 or kimchi stew and 순두부찌개 or stew with soft tofu. These foods are a bit spicy, so if you don't like spicy foods, look for a dish called 불고기. 불고기 is sliced and seasoned barbecued beef. This is another popular dish among foreigners. If you're not quite sure what to order, ask the waiter, 여기 뭐가 가장 맛있어요? It means, what's the most delicious food here? And they will tell you a few of their most popular dishes. When you finally decide on what to order, say the name of the food you want and say 주세요. Listen to what Mark said. 김치찌개 하나랑 순두부찌개 하나 주세요. Simply say the name of the food and add 주세요, meaning please give. If you just need one kimchi stew, for example, you can say 김치찌개 하나 주세요. Most dishes are served with a serving of rice and assorted side dishes for free. These side dishes are called 반찬. They can be refilled for free. You can get more by saying the food name and 좀 더 주세요. For example, if you need more kimchi, you can say 김치 좀 더 주세요. Please give us more kimchi. If you need a bottle of water, say 물 좀 더 주세요. It means please give me a bottle of water. Sometimes restaurants have a sign that says 물은 셀프입니다. This literally means water is for self-service. They post it to say you should pour your own water, so look around first for the sign before you ask them to bring water.
Now it's time to practice your new ability.
You're in a traditional Korean restaurant and you've called the waitress over. Ready? Here we go. You want to order one kimchi stew. How will you order? 김치찌개 하나 주세요. You've run out of side dishes and need them refilled. What should you say? 김치 좀 더 주세요. Great job. 김치찌개 하나 주세요. 김치 좀 더 주세요.
잘했어요. Now, watch the scene one more time. After that, you'll be ready to order food at a Korean restaurant. 안녕히 계세요.
아주머니, 여기 주문이요.
뭘로 드릴까요?
김치찌개 하나랑 순두부찌개 하나 주세요.
아, 물도 하나 주세요. 물은 셀프입니다.
아주머니, 저희 김치 좀 더 주세요.
여러분 안녕하세요. 노경진입니다. 한국의 어린이들에게는 생일이 2번 있다는 이야기 들어보신 적 있으세요? 첫 번째 생일은 진짜 자기 생일날이고요. 두 번째 생일은 바로 어린이날입니다. 어린이날은 매년 5월 5일에 있습니다. 이날 부모님들이 아이들이 평소에 갖고 싶던 선물을 사주기도 하고요. 아이들이 가고 싶어하는 장소로 함께 나들이도 가기도 합니다. 그럼 어린이날 아이들이 가장 가고 싶어하는 곳은 어디일까요? 정답은 이 비디오 마지막에 알려드릴게요. 어린이날의 역사는 생각보다 오래되었습니다. 1923년 5월에 처음 시작되었는데요. 이때만 해도 어린이 인권이라는 개념이 별로 없었기 때문에 사실 어린이들의 삶은 그렇게 행복하지 않았습니다. 그런 어린이들이 단 하루라도 행복했으면 하는 바람으로써 당시 소설가였던 방정환 선생님을 중심으로 여러 단체들이 모여 5월 1일을 어린이날로 지정했습니다. 일제강점이 심해졌던 중간에 잠깐 사라지기도 했지만 그 뒤로 지금까지 어린이날은 계속해서 한국의 대표적인 공휴일로 남아 있습니다. 그럼 어린이날에 어린이들은 무엇을 할까요? 휴일이 단 하루밖에 없기 때문에 보통 멀리 여행을 가기는 조금 어렵습니다. 그래서 집에서 가까운 놀이공원이나 동물원에 나들이 가는 경우가 많습니다. 또는 아이들이 좋아하는 선물을 사기 위해서 백화점에 가거나 근처 레스토랑에서 맛있는 식사를 하는 경우가 많은데요. 어린이날이 되면 아이들은 부모님에게 어떤 선물이 갖고 싶은지 미리 얘기하고는 합니다. 그리고 이때에 맞춰서 어린이날이 되면 백화점에서 어린이날 특별 세일이 시작됩니다. 그렇다면 아이들이 가장 좋아하는 선물은 무엇일까요? 지금은 아이패드나 아이폰과 같은 전자제품을 갖고 싶어하는 아이들이 가장 많다고 하네요. 한국 경제가 좋지 않았던 80년대까지만 해도 과자 상자가 가장 인기가 많은 어린이날 선물이었다고 합니다. 그렇다면 아직 결혼을 하지 않은 사람들은 어린이날을 어떻게 보낼까요? 보통은 평범한 휴일처럼 데이트를 하거나 집에서 쉬기도 하지만 부모님과 함께 어린이날을 보낼 수 없는 아이들을 위해 사회복지시설에 방문해서 함께 놀아주는 경우가 많다고 하네요. 자, 그러면 여기서 오늘의 퀴즈의 정답 알려드릴게요. 바로 롯데월드나 에버랜드 같은 놀이공원입니다. 사람들이 많이 있어서 놀이기구를 타기는 힘들겠죠? 하지만 귀여운 캐릭터 인형도 만나고 맛있는 음식도 먹을 수 있는 놀이공원이 지금도 어린이날 가장 인기 많은 장소라고 하네요. 이번 레슨 어떠셨어요? 새롭게 알게 된 내용들 많이 있으셨나요? 여러분이 태어난 나라에서는 어린이들을 위한 특별한 날이 있나요? 그날에 어떤 행사들이 있나요? koreanclass101.com 코멘트란에 남겨주세요. 그럼 다음 시간에 만나요. 여러분 안녕하세요. 노경진입니다. 여러분은 한국의 역사가 언제부터 시작됐는지 알고 계세요? 한국 전쟁 다음부터? 아니면 조선시대부터? 둘 다 아닙니다. 한국 사람들은 한반도의 역사가 기원전 2333년부터 시작됐다고 믿고 있습니다. 이때부터 한반도에 고조선이라는 나라가 있었기 때문인데요. 그래서 이때 한반도의 역사가 시작된 것을 기념하기 위해서 10월 3일을 개천절로 지정하였습니다. 여러분은 한자어로 된 개천절이라는 단어의 정확한 의미가 뭔지 아세요? 정답은 이 비디오 마지막에 알려드릴게요. 고조선은 지금 인천공항 근처에 있는 커다란 섬, 강화도에서 시작되었다고 알려져 있습니다. 그래서 개천절이 되면 이곳 강화도에서는 여러 가지 행사가 열립니다. 특히 개천 대제봉 행사라는 행사가 가장 유명한데요. 이름이 조금 어렵죠? 옛날 고조선에서 하늘의 제사를 지냈던 것을 개천 대제봉이라고 하는데요. 10월 3일이 되면 이 제사를 그대로 재현해서 보여줍니다. 이 행사는 먼저 하얀색 선녀옷을 입은 7명의 학생들이 부채춤을 추면서 시작합니다. 그런 다음 제사단에 놓인 성화에 불을 밝히게 되는데요. 옛날에는 이런 방법으로 하늘에 있는 신에게 감사의 뜻을 전했다고 합니다. 그리고 이날 강화도에 가면 다양한 음식 재료들을 판매하는 행사장도 쉽게 볼 수 있는데요. 그 중에 가장 인기 있는 상품은 바로 강화도 약숙입니다. 고조선의 왕을 한국에서는 당군왕검이라고 부릅니다. 그리고 이 당군왕검은 오랜 기다림 끝에 여자로 바뀐 곰과 하나님의 아들 환웅이 낳은 아들이라는 전설이 있는데요. 사람이 되고 싶었던 곰이 100일 동안 동굴에 머물면서 먹을 수 있었던 유일한 음식이 바로 마늘과 쑥이라고 합니다. 그래서 지금도 강화도에 가면 이 전설을 생각하면서 강화도 약숙을 구입하는 사람들이 많다고 하네요. 강화도뿐만이 아니라 서울과 같은 도시에서도 개천절이 되면 다양한 행사들이 열립니다. 특히 서울 광장에서는 10월 3일이 되면 개천절을 기념해서 전통적인 춤과 노래를 공연으로 보여주기도 하고 다양한 전통 의상을 보여주는 행사가 열리기도 합니다. 개천절 행사를 보기 위해서 강화도에 가면 꼭 봐야 하는 역사적 구조물이 하나 있습니다. 바로 고인돌입니다. 두 개의 돌기둥 위에 커다란 돌이 놓여진 모습인데요. 고조선이 시작하기 전 선사시대에 부족의 족장이 죽었을 때 많은 사람들이 커다란 돌을 운반해서 만든 족장의 무덤이라고 합니다. 이집트의 피라미드처럼 말이죠. 자, 그럼 여기서 오늘의 퀴즈의 정답 알려드릴게요. 개천절은 한자로 하늘이 열린 날이라는 의미입니다. 고조선의 왕이었던 당군왕검의 아버지 환웅은 하늘의 문이 열리면서 한반도에 내려왔다는 전설이 있는데요. 그래서 한국에서는 10월 3일을 국가 창립일이라고 부르지 않고 개천절이라고 부르고 있습니다. 이번 레슨 어떠셨어요? 새롭게 알게 된 내용들 많이 있으셨나요? 여러분이 태어난 나라에서는 개천절과 같은 날이 있나요? 있다면 어떤 행사를 하나요? koreanclass101.com 코멘트란에 남겨주세요. 그럼 다음 시간에 만나요.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is, can busy people actually learn a language? You yourself probably have an answer to this question, right? But whether you can or can't actually has a bit more to do with your mindset than anything else. And in this guide, you'll discover, 1, is it possible for busy people to learn a language and the mindset needed? 2, mental bandwidth, the one thing that can make or break your language goals. And 3, 5 mindset tricks to make time for language. But first, if you're looking for new free language resources and downloads, here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the Talking Online PDF cheat sheet. Learn the must-know internet slang and all the internet-related vocab and phrases in your target language with this PDF cheat sheet. And second, the 40 words and phrases for ordering food writing workbook. With this free resource, you'll pick up must-know words and phrases for the restaurant and practice writing them out as well. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Can busy people actually learn a language? Part 1. Is it possible for busy people to learn a language and the mindset needed? So, can busy people actually learn a language? What do you think? Leave us a comment and let us know. As much as we want to say yes, it's more of a yes or no depending on the person. Why yes? Yes, because many of our members are busy and are learning with our system. And some of you who are watching also fall into this camp. But it also depends on the person because it's more of a mindset thing. Either you think you have time or you don't. For example, many of our members fall into the group of can learn and can find the time, even if they're busy. If you're busy and still want to learn, if you look around, you can always find 5 or 10 minutes a day, like on a commute. Now, if your mindset is the opposite, if you think you can't learn a language or you don't have time, you won't even try, even if you had a resource that was proven to work. Part 2. Mental bandwidth, the one thing that can make or break your language goals. And if you think about it, if you had all the time in the world but felt like you couldn't learn a language, you wouldn't try either. Again, this is why it comes down to the mindset and why it all depends on each individual person. Either you think you can or you think you can't. But it may not always be this black and white either. It can also depend on your mental bandwidth too. Think back to your school days, those few days before exams. It got really busy and you had to stop everything to study, right? You were probably thinking, if I can just get through studying this week and take the test, then next week I can finally start relaxing and doing other things. And if someone asked you if you wanted to hang out, you would say no, because you're busy. But chances are you still managed to spend at least 30 minutes on YouTube or social media. Meaning you did have some time, even if you were busy. But the test was occupying your mind and taking up all that bandwidth. So it's also possible that we just don't have the mental bandwidth because we're overwhelmed. And this is a genuine reason for not being able to learn when you're busy. Don't worry, in the next part, we'll show you how to get some bandwidth so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Part 3. 5 mindset tricks to make time for language. So if you've gotten this far, you understand that it is possible to start learning a language, even if you're busy, that you can find the time, but it mostly comes down to your mindset. So how can you develop the mindset? So when you're too busy, it feels like you're overwhelmed and like you don't have control of your time. Well, there are a few things you can do to gain some control of your time, have some breathing room, and learn a bit of language. First, always set small, measurable goals. This is something that we talk a lot about here. For example, learn for 10, 15, or 20 minutes every day. Learn 100 words in 1 month, which means learning 3 to 4 words a day. And the mindset behind this is just being realistic with your goals and what you can do. Because if you're busy, you may not have 1 or 2 hours. And this is a strict rule, especially when starting out with new goals and languages. Always stick to small, measurable goals. Second, lowering your goals and expectations is okay when things get super busy. If you couldn't learn all 100 words for the month and only got up to 40 or 60, that's okay. If you tried learning on Monday and Tuesday but skipped Wednesday and Thursday, that's okay. Sometimes you have to shift priorities, and prioritizing things is a secret to a successful life. You may not get to the goal you wanted to achieve today, but you can get to it next week. Third, it's okay to put language on pause if life gets in the way. Just like with that last point, you can always come back and reach your goal a little later. We often see learners put language on pause, come back later. Some even come back years later. But the key is to come back. Fourth, avoid the all-or-nothing mindset at all costs. And an all-or-nothing mindset is something you'll see in beginners and perfectionists. When you have this mindset, you'll say, language learning requires hours, so there's no point in learning for a few minutes today. But something is better than nothing, and even 5 to 10 minutes of review adds up in the grand scheme. And in the grand scheme, it's more important to be consistent, even if it's just for a minute a day, rather than study for hours once a week. The brain just doesn't work that way. Fifth, do you have a slowdown or relaxing routine that you do on the weekends or whenever you have free time? And if you didn't do it, you'd feel overwhelmed? Leave us a comment and let us know what it is. For some, it could be reading, watching TV, or going to a cafe and doing nothing for a bit. You're there on your own, you don't have much to do in front of you, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes. And if you're settled, you start feeling in control. And that's the point you have some mental bandwidth. You can start doing some time management and plan your week out. You can put in a few minutes of language learning. But if you don't slow down and if you feel overwhelmed, you could have the easiest possible way to learn a language. And you still wouldn't do it. So, back to you. If you were busy, do you think you'd be able to learn a language? Leave us a comment. So, thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Do you record yourself speaking your target language? If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye!
여러분 안녕하세요. 노경진입니다. 여러분은 미국의 메모리얼 데이에 대해서 들어보신 적 있으세요? 나라를 위해 목숨을 바친 분들을 추모하는 날인데요. 한국에서도 메모리얼 데이와 같은 날이 있습니다. 바로 6월 6일 현충일입니다. 이번 레슨에서는 이들처럼 대한민국을 지키기 위해 희생한 사람들을 기리는 날인 현충일에 대해서 알아보도록 하겠습니다. 여러분은 왜 현충일이 6월 6일로 정해져 있는지 알고 계세요? 정답은 이 비디오 마지막에 알려드릴게요. 한국에서는 나라를 위해서 목숨을 잃은 사람들을 기리기 위해서 1954년부터 매년 6월을 호국 보훈의 달로 정했습니다. 6월 6일 현충일은 호국 보훈의 달인 6월 중 가장 중요한 날인데요. 이때가 되면 많은 사람들이 서울에 있는 현충원을 방문합니다. 국립서울현충원은 나라를 위해서 목숨을 잃은 분들이 묻힌 곳인데요. 6월 6일이 되면 이곳 현충원에 독립유공자와 국군 유가족, 대통령, 그리고 국가 주요 인사들이 모여서 현충일 추념식을 갖습니다. 특히 현충일 추념식 중간에 순국 선열을 위해서 묵념을 하는 시간이 있는데요. 이때에는 현충원뿐만이 아니라 전국 여기저기에서 사이렌이 울리고 전국에 있는 모든 사람들이 함께 묵념을 합니다. 사람들은 1분간 묵념을 하면서 고인의 명복을 빌게 됩니다. 또한 서울 광화문로에 같은 전국의 주요 도로에 다니는 모든 차량도 이 1분간은 잠깐 정지하게 됩니다. 현충일이 되면 초등학교나 중학교에서도 현충일과 관련된 다양한 행사가 열립니다. 특히 현충일 글짓기 행사와 포스터 그리기 행사가 대표적인데요. 이 행사에 참가한 학생들은 한국 전쟁의 나라를 위해서 싸웠던 국군 장병의 모습을 그리고 지금도 휴전선 근처에서 나라를 지키고 있는 군인들에게 감사의 마음을 담은 글을 적습니다. 여러분 그거 아세요? 지금도 한국은 휴전 중이기 때문에 아직도 휴전선 근처에서 크고 작은 전투들이 종종 일어나고 있습니다. 그래서 최근까지도 적지 않은 국군 장병들이 나라를 위해서 싸우다 목숨을 잃은 경우가 종종 생기는데요. 이렇게 목숨을 잃거나 다친 사람들을 한국 사람들은 국가유공자라고 부릅니다. 자, 그럼 여기서 오늘의 퀴즈의 정답을 알려드릴게요. 한국에서는 1년을 24개로 나누어 구분했는데요. 이 중에 9번째 기간이 시작되는 날이 바로 6월 6일이었다고 하네요. 그리고 옛날부터 이날에 여러 가지 제사를 지냈다고 합니다. 그래서 한국 정부에서도 1954년에 현충일을 만들 때 6월 6일로 날짜를 정했다고 하네요. 이번 레슨 어떠셨어요? 새롭게 알게 된 내용들 많이 있으셨나요? 여러분의 나라에서는 국가를 위해 희생한 사람들을 추모하는 날이 있나요? koreanclass101.com 코멘트란에 남겨주세요. 그럼 다음 시간에 만나요.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is how to learn a language in 2022. If you're planning to learn a language in 2022, then this episode is for you, especially if you want to finally succeed with your New Year's resolution instead of failing or giving up in the next week or two. That's why today you'll discover 1. The 4 critical steps you need to take when learning a new language, and 2. How to set goals and New Year's resolutions that won't fail you in 2022. But first, if you're looking for some free language resources and downloads, here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the Using Opposites Conversation Cheat Sheet. With this new cheat sheet, you'll learn common opposite adjectives like near and far, hot and cold, and grammar rules on how to use these words in a sentence. Second, the How to Say Goodbye PDF Writing Workbook. With this printable PDF, you'll pick up some common parting greetings and be able to practice writing them out. Third, can you talk about cars in your target language? Learn how to say words like tire, windshield, headlights, and more with this quick vocab bonus. Fourth, must know words and phrases for public transportation. Learn how to say ticket, bus, train, and much more with this quick 1-minute lesson. Fifth, the 10 habits of highly effective language learners. Wondering which habits will help you succeed with language learning? Then check out this free lesson. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. How to learn a language in 2022. Part 1. The 4 critical steps you need to take when learning a new language. Every time you start a new language, you should start with 1. Goals, 2. Anchor points, 3. Grammar, 4. Reading. What are these 4 steps, and why do you need them to succeed with language learning? Let's jump in. The first one is goals. Everything starts with a goal, but your goal itself can also lead you to failure if you don't set it the right way. So more specifically, you need to set small, measurable monthly goals instead of just, I want to learn a language and be fluent this year. We'll cover goals in the second part of this episode, so stay tuned. After goals, the second step is setting anchor points. What are anchor points? Imagine a small ship in the middle of a big lake. It's windy, lots of waves, and the ship is bobbing up and down, drifting all around. What would you use to stop the ship from drifting away? An anchor. And just like an anchor keeps the ship in place, anchor points keep you from drifting away from your language. So an anchor point is a connection to the language that keeps you attached to the language and motivated to learn the language. One great example is language school. Imagine you signed up and paid thousands of dollars up front. Paying that much would motivate you to make the most of your time there. It's also a big commitment, one that you can't easily back out of. And school dictates your schedule. You have to wake up early, you have to do homework. Your life revolves around the classes. And as such, language school and the language itself become anchor points that your life revolves around. Anchor points can also be family or a partner that speaks the language you're learning. You're around them, you're exposed to the language, so your motivation to learn gets a bit stronger. Buying a language learning program or textbook are also examples of good anchor points. You invested your hard-earned money, which means you're serious about learning. Plus, you want to make sure your investment doesn't go to waste, so you're more motivated. If you're wondering if you have any anchor points, you already have at least one. You're watching our lessons on YouTube. But the more anchor points you have, the stronger your motivation will be. So if you're into music or TV shows in your target language, those can serve as anchor points too. These are things that connect you to the language and add a bit of motivation to learn more, or at the very least, understand what you're watching or listening to. We covered goals and anchor points. What's next? The third step is you must have a good grasp of grammar of your native language. Now, you might wonder, if you're learning a new language, why focus on your native language? Well, as native speakers, the problem is we know what good grammar sounds like, but we can't explain how or why our language works the way it works. So if you don't have a good grasp of grammar, the backbone or the rules of a language, then you'll have a tough time learning a new language. You'll jump in and start learning words and phrases, but you'll never learn how to put them together and make sentences. That's a common problem beginners have. Now, if you already know the grammar of your native language, how do you apply that to your target language? For example, if you're an English speaker, and if you know that English sentences follow the subject, verb, object pattern, and if you know that languages have specific sentence patterns, then you'd go look at patterns. Then, you'd have a good idea of how to create your own sentences, instead of learning random words first. Finally, the fourth step is reading. Reading is good simply because you can do it anywhere, anytime, and without a teacher. It's a skill you can get started on day one, on your own. Reading also tends to spill over into other areas. The more you read, the more words and grammar rules you come across, so you boost your vocabulary and grammar, which can seep into speaking and listening. If you read out loud, you're practicing two skills at once. Now, we've covered what you need: goals, anchor points, reading, and grammar. Setting anchor points, knowing your own grammar, and reading are simple enough, but how do you set goals that don't lead you to failure? Part 2. How to set goals and New Year's resolutions that won't fail you in 2022. The goal that you set can make or break your language learning journey, so setting the right goals makes all the difference between success and failure. Just think about all of the common New Year's resolutions. What comes to mind? Goals like, I want to be fluent someday. I want to speak the language. I want to lose weight. I want to save more money. These big, vague goals often lead to failure because you simply have no idea how to approach the goal and you don't know what you're aiming for. Instead, your goals should be small, measurable, and monthly. For example, speak 1 minute of conversation by the end of the month. Learn 100 words by the end of the month. Finish Chapter 1 of your language textbook by the end of the month. If you're using our program, finish 20 audio lessons by the end of the month. All of these are small and specific. 1 minute, 100 words, 1 chapter, 20 audio lessons. This means that they're easy to reach, unlike something vague like fluency. They're also measurable. You know when you reach 1 minute. You can check if you know all 100 words or if you finished all 20 lessons. If you aim for fluency, you won't know when you hit it. It's too vague and too big of a goal, and it may take years to hit. Finally, all of these goals have a deadline, the end of the month. That would mean January 31st of this year. Deadlines give you a clear date to aim for, and without one, you'll forever be floating around without much progress. So set a deadline for the end of every month. So now that you know how to set small, measurable monthly goals, leave us a comment. What's your small, measurable monthly goal, and what's the deadline? So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye!
Imagine you're at the bus stop trying to find a restaurant. The bus arrives and you want to ask the driver where the bus goes. What do you say? 안녕하세요, 이재입니다. Jae here. Anyone can learn to use public transportation in Korea. In this lesson, you'll learn how. Mark and Karen are using public transportation to find a restaurant. Let's watch.
702번 버스가 곧 도착합니다.
아저씨, 종로 1가에 가나요? 네, 갑니다. 금양이요. 잠시만요. 이제 되세요.
다음 정류소는 종로 1가입니다.
Now with English.
(702번) 버스가 곧 도착합니다.
아저씨, 종로 1가에 가나요? 네, 갑니다. 금양이요. 잠시만요. 이제 되세요.
다음 정류소는 종로 1가입니다.
Here are the keywords from the scene.
다음, 다음, next, 다음, 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 정류소, 정류소, bus stop, 정류소, 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 번, 번, number, 번, 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 가다, 가다, to go, 가다, 가다, 가다. 잠시만요, 잠시만요. Wait a moment, please. 잠시만요, 잠시만요, 잠시만요. 이제, 이제, now, 이제, 이제, 이제. 아저씨, 아저씨. Casual way to say Mr. 아저씨, 아저씨, 아저씨.
And now a breakdown of some of the Korean you heard in the scene.
In the scene, how did Mark ask the driver about his bus route? 아저씨, 종로 1가에 가나요? 아저씨, 종로 1가에 가나요? 아저씨, 종로 1가에 가나요? It means, Mister, is it going to 종로 1가? Here, let's take a look at the word 아저씨. It's the casual way to say Mister in Korean. When you want to address a man who is older than you in a friendly way, you can use this word. With female staff, for example, a staff member at a restaurant, you can say 아주머니 to address the lady. This is a casual way to say Mrs. To say Miss, you can use 아가씨, usually with female staff in their 20s. Next, we have 종로 1가에 가나요? 종로 1가 is the name of a street located at the center of the business district in North Seoul. Mark asked the driver if his route includes 종로 1가, so he said his destination first, then the location marking particle 에, 종로 1가에. After that, he added 가나요, which means is it going? This is originated from the verb 가다, which means to go. Now you try. Say Mark's line. 아저씨, 종로 1가에 가나요? What did Mark and Karen hear at the bus stop when the bus was coming?
702번 버스가 곧 도착합니다.
702번 버스가 곧 도착합니다. 702번 버스가 곧 도착합니다. This means bus number 702 will arrive shortly. The sentence starts with the number of the bus 702, 702. Then we have the counter 번 and 버스, the noun for bus. Altogether we have bus number 702 or in Korean 702번 버스. Using this pattern you can say 300번 버스 to mean bus number 3000 or 520번 버스 to mean bus number 520. Next we have 곧 도착합니다. 곧 means soon and 도착합니다 means to arrive. You'll hear the same announcement at a subway station too. Now you try, say the announcement.
(702번) 버스가 곧 도착합니다.
Now the lesson focus. Here's how to ride a bus in Korea.
In Seoul, a bus system connects every corner of the city. Buses are called 버스 in Korean and they have three colors in Seoul. Green is for smaller areas, blue is for connecting different districts, and red buses connect different cities. If you want to check a bus route, say your destination and the phrase 에 가나요? Listen again to what Mark said. 아저씨, 종로 1가에 가나요? Mister, is this going to 종로 1가? Passengers on the bus must board using the front door and exit using the back door. You can transfer from a bus to another bus or from a bus to the subway almost for free up to 5 times. But you have to make sure to transfer within 30 minutes. To receive free transfers, make sure to scan your card whenever you exit the bus or subway. You can transfer between subways for free even if they are operated by different companies. Sometimes you may be charged additional fees depending on the distance you travel. When you get on the bus, scan your transportation card. If you hear 잔액이 부족합니다 or you have insufficient balance, you can pay by cash. Take your cash and put it into the box near the driver's seat. You receive your change but use nothing bigger than 5,000 won bills when you pay by cash. When you want to pay for 2 or more passengers, say the number and 명이요. For example, if you want to pay for 2, say 2명이요. For 3, 3명이요. After saying this phrase, wait a second. The driver will change the setting of the card scanner. When it's done, scan your card to pay for multiple people. When you've paid once for multiple people, you can transfer only to buses. Make sure to say 2명이요 or 3명이요 when you transfer to the next bus. Otherwise, you won't get the transfer service. When you're on the bus, make sure to listen to the announcement. The announcement will be in Korean and English and will be displayed inside the bus. If you hear your bus stop's name, press the red bell that is nearest to you. If no one presses it, the bus won't stop. When the bus arrives, make sure to scan your card. The card reader is placed next to the exit door. When your card was not scanned correctly, you'll hear 카드를 다시 대주십시오, which means please scan your card again. Make sure you put your card on the reader for at least 1 second.
Now it's time to practice your new ability.
You're getting onto a bus in Seoul to go to Hongdae. Ready? Here we go. You've entered the bus and need to ask the driver about the route. You want to ask if the bus goes to Hongdae. What should you say? 홍대에 가나요? The bus announces your destination is at the next stop. What should you do? When you hear the announcement, press the red button, scan your card, and get off through the back door. Great job. 홍대에 가나요? When you hear the announcement, press the red button, scan your card, and get off through the back door.
잘했어요. Now watch the scene one more time. After that, you'll be ready to take a bus in Korea. 안녕히 계세요.
702번 버스가 곧 도착합니다.
아저씨, 종로 1가에 가나요? 네, 갑니다. 금양이요. 잠시만요. 이제 되세요.
다음 정류소는 종로 1가입니다.
여러분 안녕하세요. 노경진입니다. 여러분은 대한민국에 국교가 없다는 거 알고 계세요? 한국에서는 불교, 기독교, 천주교 등 다양한 종교를 믿는 사람들이 함께 살아가고 있습니다. 이번 시간에는 불교의 대표적인 기념일이자 공휴일인 부처님 오신 날에 대해서 알아볼 겁니다. 부처님 오신 날은 음력 5월 18일로 불교의 창시자 석가모니가 태어난 날로 알려져 있습니다. 한국에서는 기원전 37년에 한반도에 세워진 고구려라는 나라에서부터 불교를 국교로 지정했는데요. 그때부터 부처님 오신 날을 중요하게 생각하기 시작했습니다. 부처님 오신 날이 되면 사람들이 거북이나 물고기를 들고 강가로 가는 경우가 많은데요. 그 이유가 무엇일까요? 정답은 이 비디오 마지막에 알려드릴게요. 한국에는 서울과 같은 도시보다는 지방의 산속에 큰 절들이 많이 있습니다. 그래서 부처님 오신 날이 되면 사람들은 전국 여기저기에 있는 큰 절들을 방문하고 있는데요. 절 가운데에 있는 석가 주위를 돌면서 소원을 빌기도 하고 연등 안에 소원을 적은 종이를 넣기도 하면서 절 안에서 열리는 다양한 행사에 참여합니다. 부처님 오신 날의 가장 유명한 행사는 바로 연등회입니다. 연등은 연꽃 모양을 한 등을 의미하는데요. 이 연등 안에 먼저 소원을 적은 종이를 넣은 다음 촛불이나 전구를 넣어 연등 속을 환하게 밝힙니다. 그런 다음 이렇게 밝혀진 연등을 절 안에 걸게 되고요. 연등 행사가 있는 날에 절에 가면 수만 개의 연등이 절을 환하게 밝힌 모습을 볼 수 있으실 겁니다. 그리고 부처님 오신 날에 가면 절에서 식사를 하는 사람들이 많은데요. 이때 먹는 음식이 사찰 비빔밥입니다. 여러분은 고추장과 밥, 야채, 고기를 섞어 만든 대표적인 한국 음식, 비빔밥 많이 들어보셨죠? 절에서는 이 비빔밥 안에 고기를 넣지 않습니다. 그리고 절 주변에서 직접 재배한 나무를 넣어서 비빔밥을 만듭니다. 이 비빔밥은 고기가 들어있지 않아서 정신을 맑게 해준다고 하네요. 그래서 많은 사람들이 부처님 오신 날에는 절에 가서 이 사찰 비빔밥을 먹습니다. 여러분은 부처님 오신 날의 또 다른 이름을 알고 계세요? 바로 석가탄신일입니다. 석가는 부처님, 탄신일은 태어난 날이라는 의미의 한자어예요. 석가탄신일과 부처님 오신 날, 모두 같은 날이라는 거 꼭 기억해 두세요. 자, 그럼 여기에서 오늘의 퀴즈의 정답을 알려드릴게요. 석가탄신일에 사람들은 방생을 하기 위해 거북이와 물고기를 가지고 강가로 갑니다. 방생은 집에서 키우던 거북이와 물고기를 자연에 풀어주는 행사인데요. 그래서 석가탄신일이 되면 한강이나 청계천 같은 강가에 가서 방생을 하는 사람들을 자주 볼 수 있습니다. 이번 레슨 어떠셨어요? 새롭게 알게 된 내용들 많이 있으셨나요? 여러분은 어떤 종교를 믿으세요? 그 종교에 대한 특별한 행사가 있나요? koreanclass101.com 코멘트란에 남겨주세요. 그럼 다음 시간에 만나요.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is, are you an introvert or an extrovert? And how to speak more of your target language. Since you're learning the language, then you're very much aware of the importance of speaking, which can be easy if you're an extrovert or hard if you're an introvert. So, how can you speak more if you're on the shy side? Keep watching this month's episode. You'll discover who learns faster, extroverts or introverts, why learning a language can help you become more extroverted, and 5 ways to speak more, even if you're an introvert. But first, if you're looking for new free language resources and downloads, here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the Sport and Exercise Conversation Cheat Sheet. Want to talk about fitness in your target language? You'll learn over 50 words and phrases for sports and exercise with this brand new cheat sheet. Second, the 40 words and phrases for ordering food writing workbook. With this free resource, you'll pick up must-know words and phrases for the restaurant and practice writing them out as well. Third, the top 12 April Fool's phrases. Want to be able to say some outrageous phrases in your target language for April Fool's Day? Then you'll want this April Fool's phrase list. Fourth, can you talk about your bones in your target language? Learn how to say words like skull, ribs, spine, and much more with this quick vocab bonus. Fifth, 20 must-know jewelry vocabulary. Do you know how to say earrings or necklace in your target language? If you don't, then this vocab lesson is for you. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? And how to speak more of your target language. Part 1. Do extroverts or introverts learn languages faster? If you've ever wondered whether introverts or extroverts learn the language faster, there have been studies done on this. And as you'd expect, extroverts do have an advantage when it comes to speaking and overall conversational skills. Of course, these studies didn't take into account mistakes you may make, such as grammar, vocab, etc. And introverts? Introverts tend to observe and listen more, and tend to be better listeners. Do you agree with these findings? Leave a comment. So the key takeaway is they each have their own advantages. One has something that the other lacks. And that makes sense, doesn't it? If you speak less, your speaking skills will be weaker. And if you want to just speak a lot, you get good at speaking but miss out on the other skills, like listening and reading. So unfortunately, you can't really say who learns faster based on personality alone, just that each one has their advantages and disadvantages. But personality aside, success with a language will always depend on your attitude towards learning itself and how much time you put in. The person that has a better chance of becoming fluent will always be the one that puts in more time to learn, practice, get feedback, adjust with the feedback, and not so much about whether they're extroverted or introverted. But what if you're an introvert who wants to be able to speak more? Is there a way to become more extroverted? Part 2. How to speak more, even if you're an introvert. There are ways to become more extroverted, at least more than your usual self. How? Well, first, by learning a language. When you learn a language, you have a natural desire to connect with native speakers, even if you're shy. Also, native speakers tend to be very supportive and welcoming when you're trying to learn their language. So even if you're shy, it's kind of hard to stay shy in the long run when the people you speak with are so encouraging. In your native language, even if you know a million ways to start a conversation, you might not try to speak to someone because you're worried about whether you have something clever to say or the timing or some other social aspect. But in another language, where you may only know a few phrases, you're not bogged down by that. You just do the best you can with the few phrases you have. Plus, learning a language alone gives you a chance to reinvent yourself. To learn another language is to acquire another soul, as the quote goes. So, learning a language alone puts you on a path towards becoming more extroverted. But if you want specific tips, here are 5 ways to speak more, even if you're an introvert. Number 1, learn how to listen like an introvert. How can this help you to speak more? Introverts tend to listen more, and the better listener you become, the better questions you can ask, which results in a more meaningful conversation, which also means more speaking time for you. So you can speak more, even if you consider yourself an introvert, by listening well and asking relevant and pertinent questions. By the way, if you want to learn how to ask questions, then check out our top 25 questions you need to know, where you'll learn all about what to ask and answer regarding the most common conversational questions. Number 2, increase speaking time and confidence through experience. Simply put, the more experiences you have in life or experience with certain topics, the more knowledgeable you become. And as your life or work experiences grow, so will your audience. You'll find people coming to you to talk to you. It could be about business, travel, or just your own life stories. If a conversation is about France, and if you've been to France, the conversation will gravitate towards you. Having all that experience makes things easy for you as an introvert. People will come to you, so you don't have to find them. For a language learner, the tricks are to 1, be knowledgeable about something, and 2, be able to talk about your experience in the target language. Number 3, find the right audience. Imagine talking to someone that's not interested in learning languages. They'll give you 100 reasons why they can't learn, never reasons why it might work out for them, right? But when you're talking to an audience that's interested in languages, then you can have a conversation that could go on for hours. So find the right audience to share with. With language learning, it means you need to find native speakers that share the same hobbies or interests as you. Number 4, talk about what you know best. The introvert-extrovert dynamic also depends on how much you know about a topic and what you're most comfortable with. There are topics you may not know enough about, so you won't talk as much. But even the biggest introvert can become a confident speaker once you touch upon a topic they know well. That's where they shine. So if your goal is to be more extroverted, then focus on the things you know about. Or you can always gain experience in topics you don't know much about so you can speak more. Number 5, create opportunities to speak. How? Well, it's hard to stop a stranger and start talking with them without any context, right? But what if you need help finding something at a store, or have a question about a dish at a restaurant? Then it's much easier since you're there with a purpose. So you can create these opportunities by going to a restaurant from the country that speaks your target language and speaking with the staff, or asking a taxi driver a question, or asking staff at an information booth a question. So to recap, if you want to speak more, even if you're an introvert, 1, listen like an introvert. 2, increase speaking time and confidence through experience. 3, find the right audience. 4, talk about what you know best. And 5, create opportunities to speak. So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about how tipping points will bring you closer to your language goals. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Korean ebook before it's gone.